Hello, my golfing friends. Jeff Gunning from Southwest Florida here, a PGA member for, almost 40 years now. And as many things have changed in the game, there are some things that are still the same. And when it comes to this nice area here called the putting green, we know that drive for show and putt for dough really applies here. If you want to make the money and you want to win the prizes, learn how to putt. Two things have withstood the test of time with putting: distance and direction. We're going to talk about those today, and I'm going to use two of the greatest teaching aids I've ever used to show you how to use that, how to utilize those skills. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at how simple it is if you just get a feel for one, a feel for the other, how it will come together. Now, there's never two putts that are the same. You're going to play different golf courses and you're going to putt thousands of different greens and have thousands of putts in your lifetime, your golfing lifetime. We want to keep the formula very simple: distance and direction. Contact is going to be one of the important things with putting. Making the putter strike the ball squarely. There's a 4mm area back of the ball that I want you to hit with a square club face every time. One of our teaching aids is really going to help you do that. The other one is obviously distance. Very, very great players through the years have not made every putt they've looked at. What they did was they avoided the infamous 3-putt or sometimes even 4 putts. Unfortunately, we've seen a few of those through the years, but less by the better players because they learn how to control their distance. While it's somewhat stroke related, the training aid I'm going to show you for the distance is going to be this simple and this effective for you. So I hope you enjoy it. Well, I'm going to be using the SwingMinder swing aids, and you're going to see two things that really, really help you do the two things that you need the most with putting. Four feet, and I'm going to go back to 14 feet, and if I have my way, I'm going to go back to about 44 feet. And we're going to show you how this training aid is going to help you with distance control and learning how to read breaking putts. Wow, a training aid that does two things for once. Can't ask for a better training aid. As I was saying earlier, making a stroke that's the right speed coming through the hitting zone and stroking the ball the right way is very, very important. But what I want you to do is get more in the habit of looking at the hole when you're making your putting stroke. Looking here doesn't do you a bit of good. That's why the SwingMinder training aid, distance control training aid, I look at it and it's a better visual than a hole most times. I can look at that white circle and it gives me a chance on what kind of speed I want. From this distance, you're going to see a very even back and forth stroke. Nothing really crazy. Okay, that ball rolled nice to that distance. I'm going to use the same stroke back here, give it a little more acceleration, but watch my routine. Watch this. It's the same routine. I have read the putt. Watch my practice strokes. I'm no longer looking here. I'm looking at I can see that. I cannot see a hole a lot of times. Very hard to see. And as I make my practice strokes, that gives me more reassurance as to where to go. It's also a little wider than a hole, so I'm already relaxed, and that's a good thing, okay? I've made my practice strokes. And not bad. I've hit the cup about the same spot, and more importantly, it didn't go past the hole, it died when it got to the hole. Now, that's not just good for distance control, it has multiple purposes. We're going to take it out into the putting green in a minute and show how you can use it for reading putts or breaking putts, all right? Now, I promised you earlier that we were going to show you multiple uses for the SwingMinder distance control aid. I'm going to putt a longer putt that has a little break to it, and I want to show you how to use it, not just for distance control, but for reading greens, for your memory. It's very important to have a good memory in putting. Get my line. I'm going to read this putt by putting the ball on line, doing my practice putting strokes like I did before, looking at the hole. So I'm going to try to hit it toward a spot that I believe in. Wow. Okay, now what I realized from that is I played not enough break. What I did was I played it, and you see how the ball ended up on the low side? I noticed where the ball rolled over my apex. I'm going to use this. I'm going to put it on my apex and play it to the right of there. Noticed earlier, my first putt, I hit it a little left of my apex, which means I underread the putt. I take the SwingMinder training aid, put my contact swing aid out there to the right. That reminds me I'm going to hit to the right of where my apex was. Let's see if I made the right adjustment here, okay? Okay, we're not going to make every putt, but if we can learn where the apex is in the green and we can have the right distance, you will 3-putt less. You'll probably sneak a couple of long putts in if your distance control is good. That's why that training aid is so good. The Swing Minder training aid not only teaches you how to lag your putts better, it'll teach you how to read greens better if you can move it around on the slopes, and it'll give you a better confidence and a better feel. When you make a putt, you are trying to accomplish contact with an area about 4 millimeters, almost the size of a dimple on the back of the ball. Trying to make that flat surface, make perfect contact while the putter is flowing toward the target, okay? There's been so many different types of putters made through the year, but the equation is still the same. Make good contact with a square club face and get the ball rolling immediately over like this. If you do not, if you hit off center, you're likely to have a skidding effect. Even though a putter only has 3.5 degrees of loft on the average, the ball will be skidding when it comes off, and we don't want spin. We want the ball to pop off the putter face by hitting it in the equator and getting it to roll immediately. When that happens, when there's no side spin, when you're making better contact, you'll get truer rolls and the ball will stay on line longer. When you read a putt, you're always trying to read to an apex. You're always trying to read to the point where the ball is going to start slowing down and breaking. After you line up toward that putt, it's very, very important that you make good contact, square contact in line with that apex. That's why the contact is so important, and we have a swing aid that'll help you do that more often. A regular ball is great, but if you can get yourself in a position to be more focused over the ball and hit the ball in an exact spot, it's going to make you a better putter. You're going to feel grip pressure is going to be relieved, and the putter's going to be moving back and forth if you have a better focal point. That's what I'm going to show you today. Okay, we have approximately a 15-foot plus or more putt, and I'm going to try to do two things. I'm going to try to make solid contact with the balls I normally use, and I'm going to try to have the right distance control. Distance control comes from years of stroking the putter back and forth, letting the length of the stroke and grip pressure control the distance, but we're going to work on contact right now. That said, I usually get behind the putt, make sure the lines on my golf ball are lined up where they're supposed to go, and try to find a focal point on the ball where I can make contact. My stroke itself stays very, very level, but very, very still with my lower body. My shoulders are going to rock back and forth. And that's why the teaching aid is going to be so important. When you see me putt with it, you'll see me really, really stay focused over the ball and not reduce the risk of swaying or trying to help the putter. You're going to really have to focus on that spot behind the ball. What I'm doing right now with my own golf balls is I'm getting a feel for the distance, and I'm just trying to get a feel for where I'm supposed to strike the ball. I'm trying to hit that spot on the back of the ball, but I'm also trying to hit through the ball. So it's very, very important that you keep your head steady, rock your shoulders, and accelerate through, okay? Now, whether or not I had the right distance control, I'm gonna pull the Swing Minder aid out of my pocket, put it on the ground. As you can see, it's about half of a normal golf ball, but it's the important half. It's the center of the golf ball. That's where I wanna focus on when I putt. And I'm gonna do the same thing I did before. I'm going to line it up for where I'm supposed to go, and good, bad, or indifferent, I don't care about the result of the putt. What I'm trying to do is change my thinking to the back of that golf ball, to that small area. And whether I make a good stroke or not, I'm training myself to swing back normal, but instead of blacking out right here, I'm trying to give that putt that little extra pop. The reason that's going to happen with this is because I'm really focused on that small area. I've lost the distraction of the rest of the golf ball. That's why it's a very, very good teaching aid. Not too bad. Started out a little wobbly, but because I hit the back of the ball as well as I could, the energy went through the ball, through the training aid rather, and it stayed on line. I actually was pretty happy with the results there, and I was happy with what happened when my stroke fed off it. When I focused on the back of that Swing Minder aid, what I did was I saw myself focus on not just that point, but getting past that point. So instead of my putter sometimes getting to the ball and going like this, I had an incentive with the training aid to go through. It gave me a really good target orientation. So not just hitting the back of that ball in that one spot or the training aid that one spot, but going through. You've accomplished about 80% of the stroke in putting. The rest is all math. It's how long do I take it back? How hard do I come through? And what the speed of the green is. There's all these factors, but the contact is so important at this point. And I'm actually pretty happy with the results that I had right there. In my years of playing this game and watching really, really good players, I've noticed that the good putters, and my brother happens to be one of them, to this day, his 3-foot putt still looks like his 33-foot putt. What I mean is his stroke goes back and through the same speed, the same distance most of the time. He creates acceleration in the hitting zone with his grip pressure. There's no panic in his stroke. Well, a lot of times people can't feel that. They got to take their minds off too many mechanics, and they don't know what they're feeling here. And sometimes you got to get their mind thinking about where the hole is. Our Swing Minder putting aids are going to be so simple yet so effective. I think you're going to have a pleasant time learning how really good you are with your distance control and your direction.